What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are live and direct for your viewing pleasure to see my face. I'm joking. You're live and direct for MMA Reloaded Raw Talk. We are back, and I am proud to be back after 3 weeks of absence. And of course, folks, our last episode, episode 28, we actually got a real pleasure to chat with Anthony Romero, one of Canada's biggest, youngest sensations, just made his name on a contender, already has that reputation as the next George St. Pierre. Tonight, we are live and we are back with another sensation, but this time, a man who's actually made a reputation, a man who's held 2 Titan FC championships, a man who's 1-on-1 in the UFC, and a deal that I will get down and gritty with him, and also a brave CF flyweight championship tournament participant, where his first fight didn't really go as I don't think anyone expected. It was a draw. So, of course, folks, I'm talking about the man himself, Jose Shorty Torres. Now, woo! Jose Torres, man. Jose Torres joins us, folks, hopefully in another 20 minutes, where we will be doing the particulars. So, folks, as we dig down deep, it is fight week once again, and the UFC makes its, of course, it's the second stint of UFC Fight Island. The first one being so memorable. This one's kicking off very memorably with of course, Israel Adesanya. Of course, Israel Adesanya is just rocketing his superstardom, I should say, with that win over Paulo Costa. Now, a lot of people were criticizing Israel after the fight with Yoel. But why? There's a lot of things that Israel Adesanya does, and he does it so well. He's so diverse. He's so versatile when he's in that octagon. Oh man, it's a different story to watch. It's like every martial artist is a master at their art. That's what your whole aim is to become a master at your art. And Israel showed that, boy, you want to criticize me for not finishing your well or for that fight being so stiff? Watch this one. And boy, if you were watching that, folks, UFC 253, you would see that Israel Adesanya was picture perfect. And that was a perfect fucking performance from Israel. And boy, when Israel Adesanya, after that fight, folks, the one man who was always on the mic during that night was John Jones. Jones was on the mic to Jan Blachowicz after Jan beat Dominic Reyes in a wicked performance. Something that, definitely put Jan's stock on the map as a champion. Now, I respect Jan Blachowicz because he's one guy who came in, he's climbed the ladder from prelims to now, to being a champion. And he's done that through grit, hard work. He hasn't complained, hasn't moaned, done anything of that wrong ass nature. He's done it all right by me, man. I'm sure right by a lot of other fans to get to know who he is. Yeah, and who he is right now as the UFC light heavyweight champion. You know what, folks? John Jones was all over Twitter with this shit. He's still on Twitter with this stuff, man. So he's on Twitter calling out Jan Blachowicz for to get his championship back. He's on Twitter with Israel Adesanya in and that confrontation, folks, is blowing into something which could become spectacular. It could become a fight, like a prize fight. John Jones versus Israel Adesanya, a fight which was been, I would say, about a year in the making. Yeah, between two mirror images of each other. So John Jones and Israel, style, swagger, flamboyance, passion, fire, the attitude. Yeah? It's like Stone Cold Steve Austin going against The Rock. It's like T.O. Ortiz against Chuck Liddell. It's like fucking, oh man, Bruce Lee against Jackie Chan. You never know, bro. It's like Jin versus Horrorang. The thing is here, fam, with what I'm getting to is that just a little confrontation over Twitter, yeah, that blows up so much between two of the biggest superstars right now in MMA. Oh man, there's nothing like that sort of goosebump that you never know. Tomorrow, a fight could be announced, yeah, or the day after, or whenever. That's the unpredictability. That is Midnight Mania. That is mixed martial arts. It is not just action in the octagon. It's action everywhere else outside the octagon, on your phone. Hell, Conor McGregor could be in a cafeteria and get punched in the face by a 12-year-old. But speaking of Conor McGregor, folks, unless you've seen our MMA Reloaded Instagram channel, we have it's been made official that Conor McGregor will fight Dustin Poirier in a charity mixed martial arts match. Charity mixed martial arts fight. So December the 12th in Dublin, he's invited Dustin into a rematch. Now, folks, Conor McGregor's also said that he's fighting Manny Pacquiao in the Middle East in 2021. The thing is, is if I'm being honest, right, these are not the fights Conor McGregor should be taking. If he wants Dustin Poirier, the UFC should make that shit happen, bro. Like, bro, honestly, the UFC should make that happen. Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, Dana White said that, I've offered the fight to them. I'm waiting for a chance, but I'm waiting for a response. So give him a response. Why do you want to go out all rebellious and shit when you got a huge stage in the UFC to promote this, build it up, make mad money, off that fight? That rematch, bro, I would love to see that on a UFC stage because I've been waiting for it for a better part of 6 years. Dustin Poirier ain't the same fighter he was back then. And Conor McGregor ain't as hungry as he was back then. At least not to me. All that time off he's taking. All that retire, not retire type shit. Going off and doing your own thing. Chilling on a beach and doing coke. That's all you, man. But Dustin Poirier has been in that octagon working his ass off. Fighting the best. Beating the best. On his way to Khabib in Abu Dhabi. Conor McGregor has just been on and off and on and off. He's like a light switch, fam. Yeah? So I don't like that type of shit. If you're a fighter, be a fighter, man. If you're a fighter, you gotta live the lifestyle. Yeah? If you're a bitch, you fight once, fuck off. Fight again, fuck off. Yeah? Wait about another 6 years, fuck off. Yeah? I don't like that bullshit, man. You gotta be committed. You gotta live the lifestyle, man. You gotta put in the work to get what you want out of it. The thing is, is that Conor McGregor has never been, up there in my book, to be honest. I mean, if you are up there, a guy like Dustin Poirier is up there, a guy like Max Holloway is up there, a guy like, who else, man? Bobby Green's up there for me. Khabib is up there for me, man. Guys like that, bro. I'll tell you why, I'll tell you why. Brian Ortega even is up there with me. And a whole bunch of flyweights, man. All the flyweights, they live the lifestyle. They live that lifestyle, the commitment, the drive, the hunger, the passion, no matter how famous you get, you never lose that passion to compete, to be the best in the sport that you came into to be the best at. Yeah? And now if you're the best at something, bro, that makes you the fucking king. It makes you the king here, and it makes you the king here, and in the flesh. No one can take that away from you. And as a mixed martial artist, being a king means being a champion. I don't like when Conor McGregor goes off, puts on a fantastic performance, then goes off for fucking 2-3 years, yeah, and chases his own fights. That means he's ducking the fights that are actually right for him to fights that he thinks would be the best comeback for him. Like Cowboy Cerrone was never in any position to fight Conor McGregor, not statistically. Yeah. You know, the last proper fight that Conor actually took on was Eddie Alvarez. He starched Eddie Alvarez in a performance that made me respect Conor so much. And if he fights Dustin Poirier, it's not going to be, Dustin ain't going to treat it just as a charity fight. Come on, man. You have a loss on your record to Conor McGregor, yeah? You have a chance to get your rematch. The only guy who's ever got a rematch against McGregor is Nate Diaz. I think Dustin Poirier will come out like a beast. Folks, you know, on that note, sorry, you know, sometimes I get a bit too emotionally attached, you know what I mean? That's how we do it. Folks, in other news, yeah, MMA Reloaded merch. Yeah, folks, there you see that big ass red logo is right here, yeah, for y'all to purchase. And all I want y'all to say is, oh, MMA Reloaded. Yo, man, what size? What color do you want? Anything, folks. Look on our website, mmareloaded.co.uk for all your details. Yeah? For all your favorite MMA Reloaded designs, all your favorite MMA Reloaded colors. Man, we got it from, you know, Rodeo Red. We got Marvelous Maroon. We got all that shit, baby. We got Navy Street Blue, fam. So, folks, as you know, it's time. I think we do the particulars. We're about to go one-on-one with Jose Shorty Torres. You know, my guy. It is the 29th episode, man, of MMA Reloaded Raw Talk. And as number 29 trickles on in that, yeah. And let's do this shit. Welcome back, folks. Of course, we had to do the particulars with Jose Shorty Torres, folks. It is episode 29 of MMA Reloaded Raw Talk. It is the show where we talk real, we never lie, cheat, and steal. And if you want that phrase as a message to live by, of course, MMA Reloaded merch is out there, man, as I just mentioned. And of course, as I mentioned about Conor McGregor, and Dustin Poirier, the charity fight, and of course Israel Adesanya's fight at UFC 253 against Paulo Costa, the picture perfect performance. It is fight week once again, folks. For Saturday night, Holly Holm comes in, 38 years old, yeah, folks. And in my opinion, yeah, Holly Holm she's never out of shape. Yeah, she never looks burnt out. She looks like she's worked her ass off all the time, yeah, to get to where she once was, and that is at uh, the UFC Women's Bantamweight Championship. You know what? When she fought for the UFC Women's Featherweight title um, against Jermaine Durandamy, she knew that, you know, all right, cool, it's a new division. She has to put it on stack. But then Jermaine became champion. Then she pussied out against Cyborg. Then Cyborg became champ. Then, of course, the UFC featherweight women's division ended up becoming just a complete wank fest. The thing is here, folks, this card is being so heavily criticized as a card which is not suitable for UFC Fight Island because there's no one there that people don't know. That people know. It's bullshit. Yeah? Folks, check out MMA Reloaded on Instagram right now, man. We kicked off the breakdown of UFC Fight Island Home versus Aldana. Irene Aldana, folks, is a sensation. I love watching her fight. Her stand-up is so technical. She's so crisp. Her boxing is so good. She's so long. You know, she's quite tall, yeah, and she's quite lean. So when she fought Ketlin Vieira, that's where I think she beat Ketlin. That one punch, right hand, yeah, folks. She knocked Ketlin Vieira the fuck out, and I'll tell you how. Yeah, and if you go back and watch that fight, yeah, she's basically they're basically at range the whole time. So they're standing like this, and when they circle, yeah, what Irene's doing is she's putting her right hand over the top of Ketlin's, so it lands here on the chin, yeah. Whereas Ketlin was throwing short hooks, and when she threw right hands, she was throwing them straight. Yeah, she caught Irene, but Irene's timing and her range was a lot better than Ketlin's, and that's where I think Holly Holm was gonna have a tough time against someone who thinks just like her on the feet. I think Irene's very good at managing distance. Both women are very long, so when we come down to it, this fight, folks, is a great main event for Irene Aldana to climb the ranks at 135 in the women's division, try and get her shot, you know? And it's great to see new women's blood, yeah, make a name for themselves. Yeah, I think, folks, them prelims are so good as well, man. If you look at the prelims for this Saturday night, yeah, folks, and I'll just take you through them. Yeah, so folks, the prelims for tonight, yeah. So what we do is we got Luigi Vendramini against Jessin Iori. So I've just broken this fight down, folks, as I have the others. So, folks, this one. So we started off here so well with Iori and Vendramini. Vendramini, of course, dropping his UFC debut to Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos by knockout. Yeah, but this kid does not know the meaning of decision. He was 7-0 coming into the UFC. 2 submissions, 5 TKOs. Yeah, bro. Jessin Iori had a very tough UFC start. So he beat Jim Warhead. He lost to Darren Till and lost to Stevie Ray. There's no, there's no shame in that, man. No shame at all in losing to Darren Till and Stevie Ray. So he comes back to the UFC now after 2 years, and hopefully, folks, you know, I love watching fights like this between 2 very bright stars, 2 good grapplers, in fact. So Iori's more of a wrestler, and Vendramini is going to look to hit his jiu-jitsu. Casey Kenny, folks, is up next, man. And you're telling me you haven't heard of Casey Kenny? You're a suck, yeah? So Casey Kenny, folks, to me is one of the biggest problems that any bantamweight would face right now. I think, in my opinion. His wrestling is mad. His dominance, he is deceivingly powerful. Yeah, so if, on the feet, if you get tangled up with Casey Kenny, there is a different story. This guy's wrestling, his jiu-jitsu is nuts. His top game's mad. Yeah, the way this guy works and the way this guy operates has managed him to only lose one fight in the UFC. That's a mirror. Someone just as crazy as he is, probably. Yeah, he fights Haile Alatang, whose last fight against Ryan Benoit was very controversial to some people, you know. And I'm looking forward to this one, man. I am. Yeah, and as the prelims go on, you got Jordan Williams off the Contender making his debut officially 3 times on the Contender, yeah, folks. And last time out against Greg Rodriguez, a veteran who a lot of people thought would make it in there in the UFC. Jordan Williams starches him, man, with quick hands, intensity, and the hunger of a young kid who knew that this is my last shot. Yeah, if I don't get it now, I will never get it. Yeah. Then we got Charles Jourdain back in the octagon against Joshua Coulibaly. Now, Jourdain lost to Andre Fili in his last fight, but he beat Doohoo Choi in his fight before that. So he's about, I think he's 1-2 in the UFC. But this kid, I like watching him. Once again, one of those guys who, you know, he loves to finish fights. He loves to strike. Very volume-based striker. So the guy times, and he loves to hit. He loves to time his strikes. Loves to time his range. Yeah. So Charles Jourdain, versus Joshua Coulibaly is a very good fight. Coulibaly comes in 26 years old, just lost to Jalen Turner in February, the 22nd of February, when Paul Felder and Dan Hooker headlined. Joshua Coulibaly lost his debut fight, so he comes in ready to make a difference, man. Yeah, it wasn't his best showing against someone like Jalen Turner of that caliber. Yeah. So you kind of have to think, yeah, that these prelims, folks, are filled with showcase young lions, young sensations that, you know, just want to make a name. And when you want to make a name, yeah, it makes for a great goddamn fight card, folks. I think this fight island will turn a lot of heads, not only with the breakdown, not only with the prelims, but with the main card. Yeah, folks, if you want to follow the rest of the breakdown, folks, just tune in to Instagram MMA Reloaded. Jose Shorty Torres is about ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on, man? Jose Torres, folks. What is going on, man?
Nothing much. Just trying to get this all situated and all figured out. But everything's good, man. Just being fat and happy and picking up my weight from, you know, my fight getting nice and chunky. But no, man, everything's good.
That's great to hear, man. I mean, it was an unfortunate result for you, bro. But thank you so much, man. First of all, for joining us, man. Of course, we've been back and forth for a while, bro, and
Yeah.
and we couldn't get it sorted out. So now I'm glad we could get it sorted out now, man. How you been, man? How's training been going with the pandemic and stuff, bro?
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be on, no problem. And it's COVID's been, you know, it's crazy, but you know, I ended up changing teams during COVID, and now we're moved in with my coach, and all we do is wake up, eat breakfast, and then go straight to the garage. We have the mats there, we have pads, we do a lot of one-on-one stuff. And for people who know Dean Thomas, like UFC veteran, coaches champions, coached a lot of people at American Top Team, coaches Tyron Woodley at the highest level. So, you know, to have him work with both Jillian Robertson and myself one-on-one, especially for this fight, you know, we worked a lot on jiu-jitsu. And honestly, if it weren't for all the positions that we practiced, I would have been in a lot of trouble against my guy, because, you know, Sean Santello was a spider. You know, it's like I fell into his traps and he would just hold on. And I'm like that fat fly trying to get out, that I'm just like, man, what, every time I try to go somewhere, I'm stuck. Even though I was able to get out and he never, tapped me, it was just like, man, I'm losing because I'm stuck in these dominant positions for a long period of time. And third round I had to come back and really push. But if it weren't for Dean Thomas, I wouldn't have been where I'm at. And I'm hoping that next fight, whenever that may be, hopefully towards the end of the year, um, I have him in my corner. He was just really, really busy for this one, but I have him in my corner, and we get to get the win together.
No, damn right, man. I think, bro, I think you're damn right. I think having someone like Dean Thomas, that sort of experience in your corner, bro, is such a blessing, and a lot of people don't have that benefit. So, how did you feel having to switch teams like that? Was it a natural transition? Was it something that you were comfortable with straight off the bat, or did it take you a little bit of time to get acclimated?
I've been working with Dean. He was really the only person I've ever really worked with at American Top Team. And when he decided to leave the team, I was like, man, I don't have anybody to work with, and for me, I've been to multiple great gyms all across the country in the US, of Jackson Wing, Training Lab, Dwayne Ludwig's, Rufus Sport, Mark Henry's, I mean, the list, the Old Team Quest, the list goes on and on. So, and then American Top Team. So American Top Team is easily the best gym for bodies. Like, they have so many bodies, it's ridiculous. But the problem is when you have 100+ high level professional athletes and only 10 high level coaches, there's gonna be some favoritism there. There's gonna be some politics. Oh, Dustin Poirier walks in, let's pay attention to Dustin. Masvidal walks in, let's pay attention to Masvidal. Joanna, Nunez, all these high level guys. So it was harder for people at my level and even lower to get attention. And Dean was really the only person to pay attention to me, but that was still somewhat limited. So when he left, I was like, I still want to deal with the bodies, but I also want to work with Dean. And American Top Team's like, yeah, it's either us or him. And I was like, man, I've been in high level gyms. I've done everything by myself for years, but I'm 28 now. I'm in my prime. I need someone to really help me one on one. I don't want to have, other people in my corner that I'm better than. I want to have someone who's, my senior, my guy, that my coach, my master, the guy that really is teaching me. So I was like, you know what, man, let me I'm gonna just choose Dean. I've been to multiple gyms around the world. So for me, transitioning is like, all right, cool, it's just another day, but Dean and I's personality syncs up really well. And working with him, it's just the change in environment too. I mean, you understand how it is going to work. We go to work every single day. We do the same thing almost every single day, 9 to 5. And some days, man, we just don't want to get up. Why? Sometimes it's honestly just the environment. It's like, man, I got to deal with this today. I got to deal with that person. I got to do this. I got to do that. With Dean, him and I work out really well. Same thing with Jillian and other people that we bring in for bodies. And the environment's just so much more positive and so much more fun. Like, I want to get up and go to train instead of like, oh man, I got to do this today and that today. So it's been a really, really good time, man.
Do you think, like, someone like you, bro, who's making their reputation right now in mixed martial arts as a 2 division Titan FC champion, as a 1-on-1 UFC, do you think now is the time where, like you just said, like, it's the time for you to sort of get that attention from a coach, and do you think that is what benefits a fighter more, is getting that sort of personal help from a coach, rather than being uh, being surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of guys? Do you think a lot more of a smaller camp, and just that coach giving you that attention, do you think that that's what helps a fighter a lot more?
I look at it as, like, for me, for example, it's only my brother and I, and I look at it as the big brother always has to struggle because he really doesn't have anybody to kind of use as an example. My father wasn't the best father in the world at times. So it's kind of like growing up almost without a proper role model. So my big brother really, really struggled. But then when I was born, he was raising me. I had someone to look up to. I had to look up to my father. I had to look up to my brother, and then other people along the way. It's the same thing when it comes to MMA. Yeah, we do. I believe there should be a moment where we do take time to ourselves and really try to just, maybe even get humbled. Where, yeah, cool. I think I'm, this, that, and then I get beat up. It's like, okay, cool, I need help. And that's where you learn that like I need help instead of trying to touch the stove all the time and keep on getting burnt. But for me, it's a time at 28, and I definitely wish I had this when I was younger, at least in my professional career, of somebody telling me like, hey man, you keep on getting caught with this. Let me show you different ways to get out of this position compared to having to try it over and over again by myself. Again, it's like touching the stove. It's, you touch the stove, you're like, oh, it's hot. I'm gonna touch it again, but in a different section. It's like, damn, that stove is still hot. Maybe because the stove is on. Then you start to realize later on, but it takes you a lot longer compared to somebody just going, "Hey, don't touch the stove because it's hot. You're gonna get burnt." And then
Yeah.
that's when you decide, should I touch the stove? Is he right? And that's kind of you learn, but you learn so much faster through mentorship. It's pretty much like going into a test with a cheat sheet. It's like that person is helping you to the fullest, and then it's your job from there to get it done. And I've done both where I've had a coach when I was younger. I've done everything by myself when I got to my professional career. But now I have a coach again where it's like everything's molding together, and it's really, really been a good time. And I think every fighter should have a coach on the side. I mean, look at the examples of, you never hear a fighter and their team. You hear a fighter and their coach. Manny Pacquiao, Freddie Roach, Mike Tyson, Cus D'Amato. Heck, for
Yeah.
the fun of it, Rocky and Mickey. It's like you don't
Yeah.
hear of the team. You hear of this person and the coach, because the coach is what really matters most.
No, definitely, definitely, man. I mean, you can't learn enough from a coach, man. Yeah, I think there are so many things to learn, and it don't matter how many fights you have, how many wins you have. Yeah, what matters is that you pick up everything like a fucking sponge. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I think that's what matters. I think you're damn right, bro. I think getting that mentorship is so important for a fighter as they evolve in their careers, man. Damn right, bro. I think, uh, you know what, Jose, you're coming off. That fight with Sean Santella, bro.
Mm.
It was brave. You came in at brave. You beat Amir Al Bazi, yeah, bro. Then you came into that first round flyweight championship tournament, yeah, bro. How did you feel coming into that fight? Like during the build up, your training camp. How was it all leading up to that one night?
It's crazy because it doesn't matter how well the training camp goes, it all matters on the fight day. It's kind of like what my coaches tell me in college wrestling. You could lose every single match until the national qualifier, which is the final tournament. And then you can still be national champion. It's just one of those things that all this stuff is practiced until this moment. The same thing with the training camp. So the training camp honestly was amazing. I was really, really happy. And I've been dealing with a lot of mental issues, and I've been I'm really promoting mental health and stuff like that. So to come back to from where I was like, man, I feel good. I'm having a good time, and I'm pushing through in the hard moments. I'm changing my mindset, for a couple of things. This was the best weight cut. This was easily one of the better training camps, probably if not the best. And there was a lot of things going to where I'm like, man, I feel really good. Like I'm happy. But then I got to the fight and I was like, damn, everything's going great. What if I mess it up? What if I lose? What if this? What if that? And for being out of the sport for a year and a half because of mental issues, not physical injury or anything like that, I gave myself a lot of pre-fight anxiety. And so when I stepped in the cage, the first one I usually start slow, but man, I started way slower than I wanted. And he executed a really good game plan. So when I got stuck in like the 50-50 guard,
Yeah,
I'm just like, man, I I'm losing, but I can't get out. Like I'm not I haven't lost. I'm not stuck in any submission, but I can't get out. And when that second round came in, I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm awake now. I know what to do. And then he ended up. I got so into punching when he shot in. I sprawled well. I was like, all right, cool. I'm awake. I started punching, attacking, and I'm a high level wrestler. And he ended up doing like an arm swim move, which is
yeah,
very, very basic, something you see coming. But
mhm,
because I was so focused on trying to redeem myself from the first round, he took full advantage and he took my back. And I'm like, damn it. Oh, man. Like, shit, I'm stuck here. And so trying to fight him out, he's a second degree black belt. So he knows what to do. Even though I'm not getting tapped out, I don't feel that I'm in trouble. I'm
yeah.
trying to get out of position and I'm losing. So by the time I got out, it was already towards the end of the round. And I'm like, damn, I really got to come back. And given I did in the third, but man, it took me almost a full 2 rounds to really kind of have fun and get back to myself.
And do you think at the end of that second round, going into the third, Jose, do you think that's where you actually came back? That's where you actually snapped out of it um and sort of got back into your groove? Because you started moving around, man, in the second and at the end of the second and at the end of the third and the beginning of the third. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's when the draw kind of came out of.
it's weird because it's funny. If you look at it, it's like, you ever been on a roller coaster and you wait for the roller coaster for almost like an hour, and the whole
Yeah,
time you're looking up, you're like, man, this is gonna suck. I'm so scared. Like, it's so high, this and that, yada yada yada. And then by the time you do the drop, you're like, yeah, this is awesome. And then you get off, and you're like, I want to do it again. It was the same thing. It's like the first 2 rounds, I was just climbing up that little lift, waiting to drop. And then the third round, it's like I'm finally now having fun. I'm enjoying myself and going, wow, that wasn't as bad as what I thought it would be. So for me, trying to push in that third round, I could have done two things. And obviously I picked the better of the two. Is I could have just been like, man, I'm losing 2-0. I'm not gonna come back. I lost, whatever.
yeah,
Or let me just give it my all and see where it goes. And for me, I was like, man, I know I could beat this guy. And I know he's exhausted because he's the one that's been working for 2 rounds. Like, he has to be exhausted. And he
yeah,
was. And I pushed the pace. I did everything I needed to do. But man, he just, again, and I said this a lot to the fight, build up. He's a veteran and he's beaten a lot of guys. Technically, paper wise, he shouldn't have beaten, but he's beaten them because he's just that smart. So in these,
yeah,
in the first 2 rounds, when he couldn't tap me out, he's like, I might as well just stay here because I'm winning the fight and I'm not taking any damage. And in the third round, even though I'm punching him and kneeing him and kicking him, he's doing just enough to survive, doing just enough to stay in the fight where the ref doesn't have to tell him to move or do this. So I'm just like, damn it, I need this finish. I need this finish. And so when I didn't get the finish and I got up, I was like, it has to be a 10-8 round. Like, he didn't do anything that round. It has to be a 10-8 round. And then it ended up being the majority draw. I was like, you know what? Worst comes to worst, this was best case scenario. My pre-fight jitters are finally gone, and I was telling people right after the fight, I feel finally happy. Because again, I go through a lot of mental issues, depression, anxiety, all that stuff. So I'm like, man, I finally feel happy. I finally feel comfortable. And then
yeah,
they
man.
told me in the tournament, if I would have won, or any of us would have won, that our next fight would have been sometime next year. But because this was a draw, they need us to fight again to obviously start the tournament for next year. So I'm like,
Yeah, of
dude,
course.
that's another paycheck. Like, awesome. Yeah, I didn't win the win money. I just won show money and fight of the night, which is amazing. But I I want to fight again. I've only fought once this year, once in almost a year and a half. So it's like, I want to fight again. So having a fight, another one towards the end of the year, nothing's official, maybe November, maybe December. It's like, yeah, we get to fight again. I get to redeem myself against a guy that I believe and know I could beat. And both of us are going to be that much better because he was dealing with mental issues too. So for both of us to come in now, hopefully at 100%, it's that much more exciting. Already being fight of the night, I can just imagine the next one.
No, definitely, man. I think, you know what, Jose, that's what I was going to ask you is that because it was a draw, what happens next? Yeah. So, yeah, man, I'm glad because it was the first fight of the flyweight championship tournament. Yeah. It's kind of a
Hmm.
strange way. It's kind of a strange way to start it, man. You know what I mean? It was a killer fight, though, man. I understand what you're saying about having mental issues, bro. I mean, everyone does, man. You kind of you deal with it, the way that I think you best know how. Yeah, or a lot of people don't really deal with it. A lot of people do, but I guess as a fighter, it kind of comes to you differently, right? Because it comes to you in a way that, all right, cool. You start off anxious, then as time goes, yeah, you get a lot more confident.
Yeah.
Is that the way it feels with you, bro? Because it's the way that you were describing it.
It's crazy because you know you got to look at it. Technically, this was like a year and 4 month training camp. To get ready for multiple fights. Just a lot of them didn't happen. Finally, this happened. For
Yeah,
me, you gotta look at it this way: is when you fight a guy, especially jiu-jitsu wise with Sean Santella, you have some pre-fight anxiety because you're like, man, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna do this? Is he gonna do that? What submissions is he going for? Am I gonna be ready for them? What if he catches me in a submission? So like when he went for the heel hook, wasn't I didn't know that was in his game. When he went for when he took my back and did the armsman, I didn't know that was in his game. So it's like even things like that, even now, I'm like, you sleep so tense. And then I notice and I'm like, I had to take a breath and bring my shoulders down, calm down, try to sleep. And there's a lot of pre-fight anxiety. You deal with a lot of depression. For me, a lot of my sadness is coming from, I live in Chicago, but I travel hours to go to Florida and live there full time. So I'm down there for 2 months. And I'm staying pretty much in the house. Like when people say, has quarantine changed anything? I was like, no, not really, because I just stay in the house. I don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to a social life, I don't really have one. When it comes to a relationship, I don't have one. When it comes to, living a life really outside the sport, I don't have one. So when it comes to everything happening in my life and my father passing away, which tomorrow is going to be pretty much about a year since he passed away, it's just one of those things. It's like, man, there's a lot of things people go through in the sport of MMA and just fighting in general, the fear of fighting, knowing that you're going to go in there, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing if you're going to be injured and being able to, go on vacation after, relax or spend time with family, not knowing if you're going to be 100% healthy, not knowing if you're going to win the show money and make double and have money for bills or this or that. It's a crazy, crazy thing. So for me, trying to cope with everything and trying to figure out different things and trying to change my mindset really has been a
Yeah.
huge, huge thing. I mean, again, like I look at it this way: there's always gonna be bad things to happen to you every day. There's always something bad, but it's the way you look at it. I saw a picture, which is the most simple picture in the world, but it was a picture of three people walking outside, and all of them had little stormy rain clouds over them, and two of them were just sad. They're like, "Oh, it's raining. Damn it! I gotta go to work wet. This, that. It's messing up my day." And then there was just one guy just like walking down, like having a good time. It's like the rain wasn't gonna affect them. He knew, yeah, it sucked. He knew his clothes were gonna be wet. He knew the day was gonna be a little worse, but he's like, it's not gonna affect me. I'm gonna try my best to keep on pushing forward because that's how life is. And again, it's how we relate to different things. We can look at it as, let's say we're brothers and our father passes away. Yeah, it's gonna be sad for both of us, but it's gonna affect both of us differently. It might be the same exact thing, but man, it might devastate you to where you just stay in the house, you can't do anything. And yeah, it might devastate me, but I know I have to keep on pushing and walk forward. So it just depends on how, people handle certain situations, whether it's everyday life or big, catastrophes, or even like COVID. I think COVID's messed up more people mentally than it has physically. And you see a lot of people dealing with mental issues during this time because you're alone. People aren't crying out for help. People aren't doing different things. And, I've learned, especially during this year, you got to learn to take care of yourself, man, because you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of others.
No, man, I think, bro, I think you hit the nail in the coffin, man. I think, bro, you know what? Yeah, Jose, to have someone on the show, yeah, that I can actually relate to like that
So I
is
got a spider like randomly, like, I got a
is
spider
Spider,
just
man.
dang. Dude, I got a spider randomly dangling next to the camera, just like, yeah, I'm coming down. What's up, man?
No, man. I mean, no, but what I was saying is, it's great to have someone like you on the show, man. Yeah, and this is why I love doing this shit, man. It's because not only do we see the fighter side of you, but we see a humane side. We see the actual person. You know what I mean? We don't see the double Titan FC champion. Yeah, we see Jose Torres. Yeah, the person, bro. I think I've had a lot of conversations like this where this is what I try to do, man. Is I try and just separate the two personalities. Yeah, and I'm glad I could. I'm glad you shared that with me, man, about the mentality and mental health. Because I think if you're a fighter, a lot of fighters can relate to that mentality. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
man, it's a crazy thing, and I try to preach this a lot on my Instagram, and I do my own little interviews here and there, and I have my own YouTube series where I talk about mental issues and how to deal with stuff. You know, in my personal recommendations, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it's one of those things that a lot of people look at me and they're like, dude, you got 2 belts, or you have the blue check mark on Instagram, you're famous,
Yeah.
you're this or that. Dude, how many famous people do you know have so many mental issues? It's ridiculous. You know, one of my favorite artists I've been listening to is Logic. You know, he has a song called Dark Place. You know, it's one of those things that you look at and you're like, how can somebody be so sad when they literally can buy anything they want?
Yeah.
Materials don't really matter. You know, it's
Very
how
true.
you handle things in your head, man. And
Yeah.
this life, especially as a fighter. I mean, it could be with anyone in general, but especially as a fighter, people judge you. People automatically look at different things. You got people who smack talk. You got, you know, life in general. You have things that happen while you're in training camp. You could have the best training camp in the world, and out of nowhere, a catastrophe happens. You know, there's so many things in the sport that are actually almost everything in the sport is completely uncertain, and we do it for little to almost no money because we put our lives in the line every single day. But you got to figure out reasons why you started the sport in the first place and why you love it. And for me, having a blue check mark, I just use it as a pedestal to show people that, hey, man, I'm still a real person. I'm still just as real as you are. I might be a little shorter, but I'm still as real as you are. So it's one of those things that's like, I have mental issues too. So if people ever want to hit me up, just message me. If I can, I'll respond back. If I can't, then I'm obviously busy. But you know, I check every message, I check everything because dude, I've had some people reach out super depressed, and I don't have to talk to anybody, especially if I don't follow you. I don't have to talk to you, but I'm talking back to people, and I'm like, damn, you just needed someone to talk to. You know, like this is your small cry for help, and it's just all those little things that I believe matters most to a lot of people. Those little things build up to mean something big for a lot of a lot of people. For me, it's those little things, and that's why I've been thanking so many people after my fight, or even the build up during my fight. I'm like, man, I wouldn't be in this cage today if it weren't for you guys, because not, I would have retired after my father's death. You know, it was a catastrophe for me. So, there's it's a huge thing, man. I use the blue check mark as a big pedestal to show that we're all human.
It is, man. Yeah, it is. I mean, we'll come back and touch on this in a while, man. But when you jumped from Titan FC and you jumped to the UFC, yeah, bro. Then you jumped to Brave, which is so basically you just jumped from the lights and spectacle of the UFC. You jumped from the hard hitting uh, force at Titan, then you jump to the gauntlet at Brave. Yeah, Jose, and bro, we're talking about Titan and the UFC being in the US, in the States. And then you talk about Brave, you go all the way down to Bahrain to do these fights, bro. How do you compare those three experiences? Yeah, bro, because Titan, you want to get into the UFC. That's where you make your name, and that's where you made your name. Yeah, bro. The UFC, that's where you prove you're the best. Yeah, and Brave, yeah, that's where you show how tough you are. Run that gauntlet, and try and make that name for yourself globally. How do you compare those three experiences, bro?
Honestly, I look at them as all the same because I'm still in the same cage, maybe a different shape, and I'm fighting another person with the referee in the middle. So when it comes to the experience of fighting, I look at it as just the same. Whether it's with a million people, whether it's with my mother in the crowd, I'm fighting to fight, and that's nothing changes that. The only difference is the popularities. Like you were saying, Titan is to get into the UFC, and I made the UFC, but man, Titan and Brave have treated me with the utmost respect. It's been ridiculous. The UFC, I was in a 34 fight winning streak, and they give me 2 last-minute fights, 9 days and 20-day notice, and a 45-day
Yeah,
notice. I lost 54 pounds in like 50 days.
it was a
So
shit deal.
for
Yeah,
yeah, and by the time I fought Alex Perez, whether I mean, he played a great game plan. Whether I would have been 100% or not could have been different. But it's the fact of I just wasn't there. It's kind of like when you saw Tyron Woodley fight Kamaru Usman, you're like, man, it's gonna be a good fight, and then for some reason, he just doesn't show up. That was pretty much me. And Alex Perez took full advantage. So be it. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I got 2 more fights in my contract, and UFC decided to release me. So it's like damn, I have all these accolades. If I was any other weight class, you would have highlighted me and boasted me and loved me. But because
Yeah,
I
man.
was a small flyweight, you didn't care. I did what Conor McGregor did at 14-2. I did it at 5-0 and defended a belt. Two weight division champ. But again, it is what it is. So by the time I signed with Brave, at first I was like, okay, cool, another promotion, doing it, and then I fought Mira Bazzi. I was like, oh damn, Brave is trying to really put me through the ringer here. It's not just some random guy that I'm fighting. It's some guy who's trying to make a name off me because I'm the American. And Amir
Yeah.
Al came out swinging, and I wasn't even 100% mentally for that fight. And I was like, this guy's tough. Like I just
You,
can't
this,
put him away. I dropped him 3 times in the first round, but I'm like, man, Amir Al tough. And then I was gonna fight Marcel Dur, Mateus Nicolau, UFC veteran, all these guys, and they made the
yeah,
flyweight tournament. I'm like, damn, all these guys are either UFC veterans, all these guys are just veterans in the sport, like Sean Santella, or world champions in different organizations finally coming together to do this flyweight tournament. I was like, damn, this is legit. And in my head, going to fight Sean Santella, I've known him for years. Him and I have trained together. And I was like, okay, like I know what I can do against him, but practice, practice. That's a whole different thing. And so we got into the fight. I'm like, oh man, this guy is much more legit than I even expected. Like I knew he was good, but I understood now why he was beating so many people. And so, with this fight, man, uh, the level of competition has, you look at it as like, for example, the UFC, Bellator, some other promotions, if they want a good fighter, like for example, I'm trying to think what like Bellator is probably a really prime example where they get a good fighter, James Gallagher, for example, and they
yeah,
just put shit opponents in front of them, and then
yeah,
you're just like, oh
yeah,
yeah, he's gonna knock him out, yeah, he's gonna
definitely.
choke him out. That makes
Yeah,
sense. And then when you finally put a tough person like Ricky Madejas in front of him, it's like,
yeah,
oh damn, like
yes.
this is this, or Sugar Sean McNally. You
See,
look at McNally going in there, and then he's looking great against veterans, all that stuff, and then he gets beat the way he did. It's like,
Marlon
all right,
Vera.
there goes
Yeah,
that hype train. So, but Brave, dude, Brave's not trying to do that. They're like, Shorty, yeah, we're paying you really well, but you're gonna fight a guy who's 11-0, and it's like, oh, okay. I was kind of hoping you'd give me some type of bum first. I haven't fought in a little while, and they're just putting me through the ringer. So, well, Brave, I had to take it 100% serious. I got Sean Santella again, and then maybe if I win that fight, then I have Dustin Ortiz or Marcelo Dur. I believe they just took out Marcelo Dur from the tournament, but either way, Dustin Ortiz, that guy
that's
was
not.
number 3 when he was released from the UFC.
Yeah,
So, and that was last year, so he's still in his prime, and I'm excited for whatever the case may be. But man, Brave is. I highly respect Brave because they're a promotion ran by fighters, so they understand the behind the scenes stuff. So it is really cool that they respect the fighters the way they do.
nah, bro. Oh man. I mean, at Bellator, yeah, Jose, and this is where I got a fucking problem. Yeah, I got a real problem with them, bro. Yeah, is that I'm so excited to see fighters like Raymond Daniels or like Michael Venom Page or Paul Daly come out, yeah, or anything like that, yeah, bro. But when I see who they're fighting, yeah, and I'm like, who the fuck is that, bro? Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
2-2, or he's like 2-4 in his last six, yeah. And you're putting someone like Czech Congo against him, or someone like MVP against him. What are you trying to do, man? Sports Center highlights, yeah.
yeah,
And then in the UFC, yeah, bro, they don't do that as much, yeah. Which is why I think you're right. I think one or two fights build up the hype train, then you face off against someone who's actually on your level, yeah, we see what you're made of. Yeah, and if you get past that, then all right, cool. The hype train continues. I think you're right. I think promotions like Brave, promotions like One Championship, yeah, bro, you're gonna get put through the ringer, man. No doubt about that, bro. And in what I was saying to the fans before we started is, there's no point putting in the work, yeah, if you don't want the result, yeah. And but I think I wish you all the best of luck, man, against Sean Santella in that next fight, bro. Yeah, because that's gonna be a mad fight. Yeah. Do you think now, Shorty at Brave, um, this is this is gonna be that place where you find yourself again as a fighter? Do you think this is going to be like a retribution for you?
For me, the whole thing was, especially leading to this fight, was like the return, the return, the return. And
Right.
even though I returned, it was in the third round. Maybe a little bit in the second, but it was definitely the third round. So for me, man, it's crazy because I texted so many people that, obviously I love and care about and I appreciate, that helped me so much in this camp, whether it was my training partners, my coach, my friends, my
Yeah.
family. And I was just like, I'm happy. They're like, what do you mean? Like, you got to draw. I was like, yeah, no, that sucks. Like, I'm not happy about that. What I'm saying is, mentally, I'm happy. I started to watch when I had the freaking 18-hour flight back home. I started to watch all my fights on my laptop because I have everything on my hard drive. And
Yeah.
I'm looking at them and I'm just like, man, in between the rounds, all this stuff, like, even walking out, I'm smiling, I'm having fun, I was doing all these things.
Yeah.
And I look like Manny Pacquiao walking out, where I was just like waving, having a good time, while my opponent's like, all mad.
Yeah.
And I was dropped in fights, I broke my hand in fights, I tore my MCL, I got cut many times, and I was just like, yeah, cool, like, yeah, I guess I'm bleeding, I just kind of had a good time. But when I fought Shorty, man, I usually do like a big, like stomp and scream. That's just kind of one of my things when they announce my name. And getting ready for that, I'm like, all right, cool, like stomp and scream. And when I screamed, it was like the release of anxiety. It's kind of like one of those things where you get so mad you need to scream in your pillow type of thing. That's kind of how it was. I was just like, ah, and then when I looked up, I was just like, oh damn, that was a lot louder than I expected. That was kind of my bad. Sorry guys, I went a little too hard on that. And then I fought. And obviously, I was still a little nervous and scared. But then third round came. I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm in a ditch. Like, I gotta get out of this ditch and really just fight back. And I did my thing. And then after, I was just like, damn, a little late, but I feel good. And I think mentally, especially in the sport, for me, I did the sport because it was fun. It's like, why do you do a sport as a kid? It was fun. Why'd you stop? It wasn't fun anymore. So for me, it's like, man, I put myself through the ringer every damn day, getting punched in the face, getting choked out, getting beat up, having to lose all this weight. Like, I'm chunky right now. I'm probably gonna have to lose, 30 pounds to get back to the weight, So it's one of those things that if I'm gonna put myself through pain, I have to try my damn best to have fun while doing it. And for me, I finally feel happy. Like, I've
Yeah.
I've done the same thing over and over after every single fight. Right after I make weight, I fight, I binge eat, because that's just the American wrestler mentality, where we just eat as much as possible and then a week we get back to it. So today is my day to get back to it. And usually usually I get so sad because I look at my face. I'm like, man, literally 5 days ago, I had a beautiful six pack. I was skinny, like I was fit, all that stuff. Now I'm walking up the stairs. I'm out of breath. I'm just like, oh, I can't do this to myself. Ooh, is that a piece of bread? I just grab all this bread and just start devouring stuff. So, like, right now, like, I'm fat, but I'm also happy. And that's the good thing. I know I'm gonna have to lose all this weight. I know I'll have to put myself through the ringer back in this training camp. I know I'm gonna have to go and roll around with high level jiu-jitsu black belts and get beat up all the damn time, which it sucks to lose, especially when you're at such a high level. You're not used to losing. So when you lose, you're like, God damn it, you get so mad. So for me, I gotta put myself to the ringer, but I have to have fun. So for me, when you talk about the return, like, now at the end of the year, I feel like I'm gonna have a real return where, win or lose, draw, hopefully not. Um, it's gonna be the best, man. I'm really, really happy about that. And I think that's something I haven't said in a very long time, is that I'm happy. So I'm excited.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you, bro. I'm glad you're happy, man. That one another thing which sort of tears a lot of fighters up, and fighters take this a bit differently. They take it nicely. Is social media, yeah,
Hmm.
bro. The whole joint, yeah. Twitter, whether you're Twitter, whether you're Instagram, whether you're YouTube, whether you're anything, yeah, bro. I think social media as an MMA fighter is something which has evolved so much in the past 5 to 10 years that it kind of becomes the way that just one little confrontation could blow shit up. Yeah,
Hmm.
and it could play on a fighter's mind mentally. It could play in a fighter's mind going into a fight. What's your take, Shorty, on social media as a fighter? From a fighter's perspective.
So it's crazy because back in the day, obviously before Instagram, before Facebook, before all the social media, we just fought. We didn't care,
Yeah.
like we just fought, did our thing. People talk smack, that was outside, so be it, who cares? But now social media is key. And you look at it from Bellator, UFC, I mean, especially those two promotions, you look at, and it's not even talking smack because it makes sense, is when you have someone who has, or look at boxing. Boxing is a prime example. When you have somebody who has a high level of social media game, their numbers
Yeah.
are in the hundreds of thousands or even in the millions, dude, they're gonna be headlining. You look at Ryan Garcia, no offense to him, like I believe he is a good boxer, but when
Yeah.
he first started, everyone's like, oh, he's a pretty boy, he's a little mini Oscar De La Hoya, he has 1 million followers. But that dude is smart as hell, and because of that, he gets paid so much more, and he's headlining events when he definitely shouldn't because of his record, and he's beating random bums, and he's making millions because of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying he's not good. He's a very good fighter. But if he had the same skill, but no one knew him, why is boxing going to promote him?
Exactly.
They look at it as, they look at it as now, yeah, you might be a good fighter, but if no one knows you, if you have no social media, what are you worth? You're not going to sell us any tickets. You're not going to fill the seats. You're not going to fill the stands. And no one's going to buy pay per view to see you. They're probably going to buy more pay per view to see your opponent. So we're going to use you to get beat up by somebody else. So when it comes to social media, when it comes to marketing, man, fighters, you need to market. Hell, fake it till you make it sometimes if you have to. But you have to be as real as possible because for me, again, I show mental health issues. I show sponsors. I show my everyday life, me getting beat up. I show when I win. I show when I lose. I show everything. But it's the way promotions look at it as, man, he has a lot of followers, we can pay him more because we know we're going to make our money back. Or for fighters like myself, even especially in the UFC, you can't get sponsors in the ring, or in the cage. So to have sponsors of social media where it's residual income getting paid monthly, if it wasn't for my monthly sponsors, man, during COVID, I would have been screwed because I didn't fight. My monthly sponsors help pay for everything. And it's because of my social media. If it weren't for social media, I wouldn't be there. But then on the other side, you look at it as, man, I think Kobe Covington's a prime example. Hate
Definitely.
him, you love him, whatever the case may be. Once
Mm-hmm.
he started talking smack, especially on social media, having the women next to him, having all that stuff, dude, you look at his posts, all like 90% of them are negative. It's all smack talk, but you're following him just to talk smack, which is
Yeah.
adding to the social media number, which is adding to more money in his pocket. So man, you got to do what you got to do to raise your numbers. I'm actually stuck in trying to raise my numbers now, but it's I don't like playing a WWE phony game. I like being as real as possible, but some people
Definitely.
fake it till they make it. Some people play the WWE game. Some people do whatever, but find whatever niches for you and promote yourself because you're gonna have people who look up to you and want to be just like you. So try to be as positive as possible.
I've always said, I've always said that guys like Conor McGregor, guys like Sean O'Malley, guys like Masvidal and Colby Covington, yeah, Jose. You know what, bro? I don't. They're not up there in terms of fighters, yeah, bro. Like
Mhm.
Jorge Masvidal, yeah, bro. I put him aside because he never complains, never bitches, yeah, bro. And the guy just has like a natural charisma. Yeah, bro. But if you're Conor McGregor or if you're Colby Covington, yeah, bro, to me, they're not up there in my stock book. Yeah. And
Mhm.
I'll tell you why, bro. It's because I like natural. Yeah. If you're a natural guy and you have a natural personality, yeah, bro, no fake shit, yeah, and you do what you do every day, yeah, whether it's exciting, boring, whether you're just gonna go get coffee, whether you're, getting a haircut, yeah, who cares? Yeah, bro, as long as you're you, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'd rather be someone like Alistair Overeem, yeah, bro, whose face tells his whole story, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Like his whole the guy comes. He's from the same place I'm from, yeah, bro,
Okay.
and uh, his face tells the whole story. Yeah, Shorty. So it's guys like that, yeah, who I respect a lot more, man. Guys like you, yeah,
I
and
appreciate. Alistair, it's funny because I show Alistair, and that guy, we had a poker night one day, and that guy is a card shark. He is a phenomenal poker player. That guy knows how to play. He was a hustler, man. We're just like, where the hell did this come from? Where did my money go?
um, yeah, man. Fuck, I mean, I never took him for that, man. His tail is probably sick, bro. um,
Hmm.
no, man. I mean, going back to you, bro. After your reign as Titan champion, yeah, bro, you were undefeated. You had so much momentum going into your UFC debut. 4 months later, and like you
Yeah.
said, bro, and I know we mentioned this earlier about your deal in the UFC and uh, how it was all short notice, and they didn't really give you the opportunity. Yeah, bro. But going into that debut when you took that fight, yeah, 4 months after you just defended the Titan Flyweight Championship, did you feel? How did you feel going into that UFC debut, man?
It felt, it's crazy because for people who don't know, I received a 10-day notice. I had to deny the fight because I'm like, man, I'm like 20, 28, 29 pounds over. And then the next day, with 9 days, I called my nutritionist, kind of making fun of the situation. I woke up 26 pounds over. He goes, dude, what do you weigh right now? It's like, I'm about 26 pounds over from making 126. And he goes, Shorty, you've been training this entire time. You're not out of shape. Honestly, you're just fat. Like that's really what it is. You're just kind of being an asshole when it comes to food, and you're just fat. He goes, can you make the weight? Yes. Is it gonna suck? Yes. But you have to. If you take this fight, you have to be 100% mentally prepared because it's gonna take a toll on you. I'm like, all right, cool. I trust you. You're the only reason I fight at 125. Let's do it. So I flew over to Nutrition's house, my weight management specialist, and dude, 9 days, or technically 9 days until weigh-in. That's all we did was 2 workouts a day. These crazy hard workouts. Two of them were 8 hours each day at the Russian bathhouse.
Oh
We're
shit!
just sauna, because we wanted to give my body a physical day of rest because all I was doing was running and jumping rope and being as physical as possible. And so I make the weight and I'm like, yeah, oh my god, I made the weight. I thought I was gonna die. I'm like, oh my god, I made the weight. Oh damn, I gotta fight. Oh fuck, I forgot I got to fight. Like I had no time for a training camp. Like I was training, but I wasn't getting ready for Jared Brooks. I wasn't getting ready for anyone specific. So by the time I went in there, by the time I literally stepped inside the cage, because I didn't do any like pre-fight stuff, I literally just stepped inside the cage for the first time, and I was just like, oh damn, I forgot I'm here. Like this is awesome, but okay. And then I fought. Obviously, the first round wasn't the best. I got dropped. And then the
Yeah.
second round, I woke up and I'm like, I'm starting to come in. And then Dummy picks me up, and I saw his fight against Figueredo and how he loves to go backwards and slam. So I was like, okay, cool. We're both wrestlers. I know he's going to go back and slam because he wants to be flashy. Let me climb down and lock his hips and put my chest against his back so he can't really arch. If he
Yeah.
can't arch, he's not going to slam me. He's probably going to go down to his knees and try to get a
Yeah.
regular
No
takedown.
leverage. Yeah.
And so I was hoping he would go down to his knees and like fall to his side so we can scramble. That's literally the thing we all do in wrestling when somebody's gonna slam. And Dummy decided to go backwards and still try to slam me. My leg ended up falling right on top of his head, and he hit the back of his head on the floor. He dazed himself, and I was like I literally felt the grip let go once we hit the floor. I was like, oh, I gotta take his back, and so I took his back, started punching, and I was like, it's over. Like, yeah, did he cause it himself? Yes. Was it technical? Well, let me rephrase that. I locked him in, but he caused the he didn't have to slam me. And it's like, dude, because you're in a bad position doesn't mean you have to go for it anyways. Anyways, decided to slam me, put himself in bad position. So it was like an accidental KO, and I'm like, he didn't knock himself out. I just finished the job, But um then the next fight came in, and I wanted to obviously redeem myself because of all the hype I had through Titan. Everyone was belittling me. Like, oh man, you won by accident. You suck. And I was like, all right, man. Well, I wanna prove. I don't care who I fight. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll fight DJ right now. I don't care. But I didn't take into consideration the weight cut and the mental strain it was gonna pay a toll on me. And then the UFC gave me the ultimatum. I wanted to fight a few months later They're like, you're gonna fight in 20 days. If not, you're gonna fight next year, which might be a year. I'm like, dude, I want to fight now. Like I want to fight, but during my time, like I've had 10 last minute calls from the UFC. Can you give me one proper call? And they're like, 20 days is all we're gonna give you. And it's like, now I went in there, I paid the price and I lost. And I always want the rematch, so be it. But I ended up taking some time off to myself. And then DJ got traded. So I was making, YouTube videos. I talked about DJ being traded. I was like, man, from a business standpoint, I don't think it makes sense for the UFC to keep us. I think they might cut us.
Yeah.
And I ended up being right. They didn't like the publicity. And I got cut. I was the first person to be cut. And it's like, wait, you got Colby Covington saying, fuck you, Dana White, yada, yada, yada. You have all these fighters talking smack about each other or even doing bad things, drugs outside or being caught with USADA and all that stuff. But I think the UFC is going to cut the flyweight division and other promotions or other MMA media like networks start promoting it and I get cut. All right, cool. So luckily for me, again, Brave takes care of me. I get paid more with Brave. They really watch over me and I have tougher competition. Like I believe right now the UFC is picking back up when it comes to the flyweight division, but that division is still in limbo. It's only really the top 10 guys, top 15 guys. So we'll see what happens. But until then, I'm happy where I'm at.
I'm glad. I know you are, bro, and this is what I was gonna touch on with you, man. Is right now, is the UFC is resurrecting the 125 division. I think when you were in the division, Jose, when the whole DJ thing was going on, bro. I think it was unfortunate. I think they had no intention of cutting anybody, but it was the way shit was going, right? It was because, okay, cool, man, our fucking golden boy at 125 just went off and he wasn't selling no tickets, so why should these guys sell tickets? Yeah. So I think you came in a point where it was going like this anyway.
Yeah.
Because you had nobody. Like you had John Moraga, but you had guys like that, OGs who were going as well. Yeah. So I think a guy like you, if they had kept you, bro, and I'm just spitballing here, man. I think they were going to sign you, and they're signing guys right now because they're looking for their newest superstar. Yeah, bro, at 125, and they found Davison Figueiredo, who's a fucking animal. Yeah, bro. And I think that's where your sort of uplift comes from at flyweight division. I think at Brave, bro, I think that's all you, man. When I saw the lineup for that tournament, I was like, yeah, man, Shorty's got this. Shorty got this. Shorty got this.
It's a tough tournament, man. You got Zach Mikowski, Dustin Ortiz, which I believe are the biggest, the biggest guys record wise and UFC veteran experience. But then you have Sean Santella, who's literally the most experienced guy in the bracket. Then you have Valley Moore at Sambo world champ. You had Abdul Hussein, but he pulled out, who was an IMF world champ like myself. You have Flavio, who fought Valley Moore and lost the decision, but that guy was tough too. That guy didn't give up. So it's just one of those things that you have myself, a double weight class world champ and a two-time world champ as an amateur. It's you have guys that are experienced, that are veterans. These aren't newbies coming in. Like these are all guys who are ready to bang, who've been through it all, and it's exciting to be like right in the middle. Because I was talking to Zach Mikowski after, and I'm like, man, I looked up to you. I actually helped one of my friends get ready to fight Zach Mikowski when they were in the UFC back in like 2013. So I was like, man, I know you, I idolize you, I respect you, and now I might get the chance to fight you. So in him saying the same thing back to me, I was just like, I respect that, man. That's real dope. And it's flyweights. I think it's a little different, especially when the UFC started releasing us. It's the flyweights really do stick together, and we really look out for each other. Like Zach, right after the fights, even though he didn't get to fight, he was like, man, I respect your coach, Dean Thomas, all that stuff. Hopefully one day after this tournament, we could all train together. I was like, dude, that'd be awesome. So hopefully one day, but no, man, this tournament's extremely, extremely rough. And I believe whoever does win this is going to be literally one of the best flyweights, if not the best flyweight in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're damn right, man. And it's tournaments like these yeah, that the UFC sniffs out on. Yeah, bro. And if whoever wins, yeah, bro, they could get their a shot back in the UFC. Do you think, even though you said to me, yeah, Shorty, that you're good where you are, bro, and I'm glad you're good where you are, because it's a gauntlet shit, it's a gauntlet promotion, yeah, bro, and you're going to war at Brave. But if you win the flyweight championship at Brave, and um the UFC phones you and says, "Yo, Shorty, yeah, we got this and this coming on. Would you come back? Yeah, what would you say?"
You know, for me, if the UFC, for example, let's say after the flyweight tournament, everything goes well, I won the tournament, and they give me a call and they're like, "Hey, man, we'd love you to fight this guy, whoever it is, or even for the belt." Immediately, I would say no. The reason why is because it's not about the money. The money's great, yeah, it's awesome, but man, I went through such a big depression because of the UFC. You got to think about it. I was a little kid and I saw MMA for the first time. I was like, I want to be in this promotion. I want to be in the UFC. Then I do everything possible to be different, to be a double weight class champ, to defend both belts, do what Conor McGregor did, and be better and do all these things. And then I literally get the short end of the stick in every situation with the UFC. And because of them, they made me look like shit after I was released. And it's like, damn, dude, you're just gonna forget the resume I had. Like I was doing things that people have never done before, and you're gonna treat me like some random guy you just signed just to get a fight. Um, so I was extremely disrespected. You know, I had no anything. There was no pleasure of being in the UFC besides saying I'm a UFC fighter instead of saying like I'm an MMA fighter. I'm a UFC fighter. I do UFC. Um, but you know the crazy thing was if
Mm,
they were to call me today, I would say no because there was no respect when they burned the bridge, and I'm not trying to do anything with that. If they wanted to re-sign me, then one, the money would definitely have to be great, and two,
yeah,
I have to know that I would be safe. You know, I'm not trying to be signed to a promotion that, yes, they might be the biggest promotion in the world, but that does not mean they're the best. And because they are the biggest promotion in the world, they can get away with a lot of stuff, man. I hear they've been signing guys for 6,000 compared to the usual 12 and 12 because of COVID. They're like, screw it. You want to fight? Oh, you want to be a UFC fighter? Come on in. And maybe if you make it so far, we'll
that's
give
what
you more
I'm
money.
saying.
It's like, you know, so it's shit. They're paying shit money to a lot of people. So they're taking advantage of a lot of people because of their name, you know. So it's one of those things that if they are trying to re-sign me in any circumstance of my life, man, I gotta know that I'm gonna be respected there because I'm not gonna waste my time in another place. It's like being in a relationship. Man, you did all this bad shit and you know, I broke up with you for whatever reason, man. You gotta make it up to me because if not, I'm not gonna deal with you anymore.
Definitely. No, you know what, Jose? I think um, that's where the whole other aspect comes in. You got fame, you got money, yeah. But if you don't have respect, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, you're damn right, man. I think, bro, as your career has progressed, and you're obviously a lot more mature now than when you started. You
Hopefully.
you have that you have that commitment to drive, yeah, bro. And of course, from our discussion today with mental health, yeah, bro. You obviously look like you're in a good position right now, man. To do what you need to do. Um, any any last thoughts, bro, when it comes to having that right mentality, right commitment? Um, not only when you're training, when you're cutting weight, um, when you're in the fight, when you're about to walk out to the fight, yeah. How if you how important is all those things combined for a fighter, not just here, but here as well.
You know, you could have the best machine in the world, but without the proper operator, what's the machine worth? If there's no operator up there, that machine ain't moving anywhere. If you got a shitty operator, that machine's gonna break real fast. And that, you know, you saw that with the Alex Perez fight. You saw that even a little bit with the Amir Albazi and some a little bit with the Sean Tantella fight, you know. So for me, if I need to have fun, that's my mindset. You know, whether some people are doing this for their family, some people are doing this for themselves, for money, whatever the case may be. You need to
Yeah,
find out why you do this. For me, I do this because I want to be a hero, but it's also fun to me. So I'm trying to bring the fun and happiness back in the sport. And I need to smile. If I'm not smiling, then I got to figure something out or a
Yeah, man.
reason why to smile. The life is going to be tough. This sport is going to be tough. And you're going to push through a lot of things, man. You just don't want to push through. Like for me, I always got to do a weight cut. And Tyron Woodley was telling me, he's like, why are you worrying about your weight? Worry about it close to the fight because you worry about it now. It's just added stress. You're going to have to deal with it. So no matter what your weight is, fight week, you're going to get it done. It might suck a little more, but regardless, the suck is always going to be there. So don't have the mindset of like, oh, it's going to suck today. And then when you go do it, it's not as productive. Now you're taking longer. Now you're making it worse. Now things are just going, the shit's hitting the fan. You need to try your best to try. And I think that is the biggest thing. No matter what you do, try your best to give it your all, because if you're not giving your all, then why are you even doing it? So try your best to try. Know that there are other people who are scared, other people who are anxious, other people who are dealing with issues, who have death in the family, who have problems going on in life, who have to deal with COVID or money or this or that. Just know that you're not alone and try your best, because if you don't try, you'll never know. So I think the biggest thing out of all this is try your best to think more positive, be happy, try your best to smile, and regardless of the fact, just try.
Yeah, definitely. Bro, if I could give you a round of applause right now, I would. Now, thank you so much, man, for sharing a lot with us. Well, a lot with me today. No one else here, man. There's just me. Thank you so much, bro, for coming on the show with me after we've been going back and forth trying to figure out a date. Thank you for sharing about your career, man. And I hope, yeah, I wish you all the best of luck, man. That Brave in the tournament, yeah, bro. And I wish you all the best of luck in your career going forward, man. All I have to say is, Mr. Torres, bro, I have a MMA Reloaded shirt with your name on it, man. And that's definitely gonna come to you, man. There's a lot of respect here, man. Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, bro, for sitting with me. Thank you.
No problem, man. I appreciate all the fans joining in, and hopefully, if people have any questions, just message me. And now I'm glad we got to get this done, man. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Man, I hope you had fun, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Always, man. Cheers. Take care of yourself.
You too, brother.